Thank you. Next question from Pedro Romero.
Hello, hello. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right, perfect, perfect. All right, then Benji, thank you so much for taking the time and just answering these questions in this press conference. I just want to just ask about the fact that this team made it to Masters Madrid despite not having as much expectations compared to the other well-known teams within EMEA. And my question for you is it's a simple one. Looking at the team's run to this point, how did it even happen?
I mean, yeah, people didn't expect much of us. I think part of that is just due to because we are a lot of new players. I think people still expected, Fnatic to be super dominant. But I think, this is like the new era of Valorant. You're gonna be seeing a lot of new tier 2 players coming up to tier 1, I believe, within the next few years. Because there's so many like talented players. And we did our trials for this team and we trialed a lot of players. We were probably the first team out of any team in Europe to do our trials. And so we got basically our pick of players and we got everybody we wanted. So I think that's why we've performed so well. Because yeah, we got all our first picks and we know how well all our players play. And I think people didn't have high expectations just because they don't realize how good these players are. So yeah, I think that's why.
Pedro, do you have another question?
Uh, in light of, well, you mentioned a little bit about uh, your description of your teammates in this current iteration of the team, and it's easy to forget also that you joined Team Heretics at a time up in the lead up to the LCQ last season, and
Mhm.
I want to know how does that contrast with how you've been fitting in, or moreover, how has the new teammates in this squad has been fitting in with you and Boo, given that you guys were already a part of the team heading into this year. So, just to clear it all up, how does you joining the team contrast to how this team has been fitting together in the lead up to this year and subsequently in kickoff?
Um, I mean, when I joined back in July, um, I mean, I was always like plans to kind of stay in the team, because they did trials with me and they really liked me. So I, I'm not gonna, I don't know if I properly understand your question. But yeah, I mean, when I joined back in July, I kind of knew I was gonna stay for next year. I think Neil and Weber have done a good job in kind of keeping the players that they thought had the potential to, so had the motivation and the hunger to win. Obviously me and Boo were the only ones that stayed. I think Boo, Neil, and Weber have a really good kind of synergy and connection together. And obviously it wasn't showed that well last year, but now that we've got this new team, I think it shows a lot more with our strats and just everything with how we're playing. And I think with the new players that we've brought in, I think we made sure we found players that kind of understood how we want to play the game and was open to it. And I think a lot of it was we didn't want players that were already kind of molded by different like coaches or just, I feel like when you get kind of older and you become more, I don't know the word, maybe like independent as a player, like you've already got your set play style. It's quite hard to mold players when they get to that sort of age, and when they have that much experience. So that's kind of why we wanted young players, so that we can kind of play the game how we want to and, shape these players how we want to. So yeah, I think that was kind of our vision for this year.
Hey, Terence. As is mentioned before, it's been more than a minute since you last appeared in an international land, and in doing so, I want to know how you compare the 2021 Sentinels team, the team that scaled the mountain and reached the top in Masters Reykjavik, and then appeared in subsequent international lands. How do you compare that roster with this one, given the fact that you guys have managed to, or more specifically, you've managed to regain a domestic title and have managed to qualify for an international event after around 3 years. So how do you compare 2021 and this iteration?
Yeah. Like a previous question earlier, the state of the game was a lot different. So, in the previous iteration of Sentinels, we definitely thrived in that more chaotic environments, especially with me and Sick sharing like duelist roles, or me and Shaz sharing duelist roles. So we kind of found our own identity in that like current meta, and I think that's what made us really strong. Sure, we didn't play as many scrims as other teams, but we did trust each other as a team. We were really confident as a team, and I think overall that's what led to our success. Now, looking at to this year, I would say we have really, really good teamwork. We understand the game a lot better than what previous years would be. And I think as a team, we understand each other and we trust each other a lot. And I would say like recently this current iteration of Sentinels has been giving me more like, what is the word? Not necessarily like flashbacks, but it feels nostalgic to have this level of confidence moving into future matches.
Hey Magnum, first off, congrats on making it to Masters Madrid, and in doing so, it's been more than a minute since you last appeared in an international event, that being Reykjavik in 2022, and you know, in reaching, in returning to this level, I want to know, how do you look back at the time from Reykjavik onwards, um, joining Koi, going to Apex, trying to get trying to win Ascension, not doing so, then joining KC. How do you look back at your road that kind of enabled you to return to the international level?
Hello. So first of all, thank you. And second, I would say I always like I feel ready for last year to be in franchising, but I didn't think about switching to IGL. But yeah, I look positive at on my path like last year's, and it feels great to be back. And to be honest, like each lose gives you something else. Each team teaches you something else. So like without them, I wouldn't here, and I am grateful for like every experience, even if it was like negative in the end, like result wise. Each experience gave me something.
Pedro, do you have another question?
Yes. Well, looking at the rest of the team, of course, you know, Carmine Core's turnaround wouldn't be possible had it not been for, you know, your inclusion as the IGO, and in addition to Martin, Nerit, and Tomasi, players that have contributed in a big way, I would say, for this accomplishment to be possible. And so, talk to me about how the team has meshed so well in such a short amount of time from its formation up until now. You know, what were the kind of things that you guys worked on that then enabled KC to just go on such a run in kickoff?
Yeah, so I think big props obviously like it goes to all of my teammates. I think we did great job in terms of like being passionate and patient. By without Hank, Zish, it would be definitely not possible. I think, especially Hank, like I think he's really talented and overall coach. I mean, he was last year, and yeah, I think he's like big, big impact is on him. And then afterwards, like after like first month, Yuan came in, and I think the main thing which we focused on, like Yuan, was how to be good teammates, how to support each other, the way we communicate to each other as a people. Because if you have not respect to each other, it's gonna impact on have an impact on the game itself. And Ang taught us like how to play the game with each other. And big key to our success was we just grinded the game. And I would say like we are like probably the team which play the most scrims. We are probably the team which spend the most time on server, and the team which spend the most time in the water readers. So yeah, like I don't know, like the hard work just paid off for us, and yeah, I'm grateful for it.
Looking at your development, of course, you know, looking at your time in Apex, you played under an IGO in Enso, and then also before that, you know, in Fnatic, obviously you played under Boaster. I'm looking at as to how you have developed as the IGO for this KC team, given the fact that you've been able to play under such aforementioned and well-regarded players in their own right. So, how have you kind of evolved as the IGO with this new team?
Yeah, so like first thing which I wanted to do like as a first step, I wanted to avoid the things which I didn't like from Austria and Enzo, and like each IGL has like his strong sides and weak sides, right? So that was like first thing, try to learn from their mistakes, and like I think the biggest thing which I took is like from Austria and Enzo is they are just like insanely nice humans and persons. So like yeah, like you just need to be, I don't know, if you're nice, it's much easier job to do. And I'm not too sure where I am in my path as agile, like in terms of progress. But again, big props like to Zish and Ank, because they gave me much more experience than like my past experience as a player, like non-agile. So it's more more Ank and Zish job than my experience.
In the same way that there's been plenty of praise for the team in making this qualification to Madrid possible, there's been also as much praise for the coach as someone that you've been highlighted time and time again so far in this press conference, them being Eng, of course. Uh, Going into that, I want to know exactly what kind of things have Eng has put together or established within the team to cultivate a system in which you guys could just play at a high level and win. On top of that, what kind of things does Aang do to that affects the team and also yourself as an individual?
So first of all, I think the biggest thing is like this is one of the first coaches. Like I think it actually is like maybe the one coach like which is trying to look at the strong sides of the team, and he's not trying to force us to play the meta. You know, like he knows we have team of really aggressive players. We have 3 duelists in the team, so we need to kind of work around our strengths. That doesn't mean we're gonna play like 3 duelists on each map, but always like we don't play standard comps on most of the maps. So that's like his strength that he's capable of making macro and helping me with it with weird comps, and he has really good understanding in this. And second of all, like it's he knows when to be nice and he knows when to be harsh. He knows when to be real with you, you know. And there's like nothing like he's not trying to put like feed you with sweets just to make you feel nice when you are doing a bad job. So yeah, I think that's the 2 main things. And yeah, it's just his understanding of the game is like really insane, and it's like probably like the only person I know which understand the game this deeply.
Hey guys, first off, commiserations on the loss to Carmine Core. This question goes out to Berlin. I want to know from your perspective what kind of difficulties have the team experienced in that series, given the fact that in map one it was sort of a very streaky a map in which one team would win 7 straight and then the other would win 7 straight on their own. And general, what do you think went wrong for the team from your perspective as the IGL?
其实今天的比赛，这个问题是要问到柏林选手，因为今天的比赛其实是非常接近的。在第一张地图的时候，我们也可以看到双方打的有来有回，可能对方先拿了7分，然后之后你们又连续追分，追了很多分。所以在这种情况下，你觉得作为团队的 IGL，对于你们的队伍来说，你应该就是有什么样的期待？然后你觉得队伍在哪一方面需要做得更好一些呢？
一开始被连拿了7分，更多的是我们，就是有一点还没有适应到那个节奏，然后沟通上有点乱，然后后面大家调整好就比较快。我认为今天其实大家就像前面讲的，出了很多优势局，除此之外，就是一些沟通的东西，然后在其他的就比较都还好。然后大家其实今天都打得挺好的，我觉得我想先跟我队友说声抱歉吧，就是我知道他们可能不会觉得是我问题，但我认为我身为 IGL，我应该有更多的责任去控制好这不管是队内的节奏，还是说沟通问题，然后或者说前压的东西，还有自己的个人操作。那我并没有做好这点，对，我自己觉得今天很多把输掉，然后甚至后面被滚雪球，很大部分会在我这边，对，我就跟队友说声抱歉。
I think for today's matchup, especially map 1, at the beginning we were in some disadvantage because we didn't like adapt to the tempo of the game, and we have some communication issues, and we lost some advantage rounds previously. And but I think all our players did just play decently into this matchup. But maybe I think the reason we lost this game is all on me. I want to say sorry to our teammates because as the AGL of this team, I feel like I have the responsibility to carry all the team to do the right calls and to make better communication with our teammates. But I didn't do good on that, so it's all on me.
Yes, I got a question for Life. You know, contrary to the team's eventual defeat to Carmine Core in this series, do you, as an individual, perform respectively well, leading the team obviously in kills and ACS? And so, how did you view your performance against KC in this first match, despite the defeat?
这个问题想要问到柏林选手，因为今天Life 选手，因为今天 Life 的选手的发挥真的非常出色，在和 KC 的对战中，其实拿下了很多的关键局，而且我们也看到了你的5杀。那想问一下，你如何评价今天的表现？虽然说今天比赛输掉了嘛，想问一下你对自己的表现是怎么样评价的？
我觉得正常吧。对，主要是我觉得是今天我们大家是很久没有打世界赛，这是第一次，所以说我们可能心态上没有调整过来，有些人有点紧张，或者说是有些太过于兴奋，然后导致我们没有发挥出最好的状态。对。
I feel like my performance today is just decent because all of our teammates, we have a long time to, we didn't play like competitions in an international event. This is our first time in this year. So some of our players, maybe they're a bit of nervous or a bit of excited. So we didn't get to our best form today.
This goes out to Life. Up to my knowledge, I believe you are the only person to have appeared in appeared in an international event with 3 different organizations in your career. And I want to know from your perspective, how does this your current stint in FPS compare with that from the time in which you were part of Attacking Soul and EDG?
这个问题想问一下来福选手，因为其实你是现在的所有的队员里面唯一一个可能每次参加世界赛都是在不同的队伍的，所以想问一下你此时此刻现在的状态，在 FunPlus 的状态怎么样？和之前在 EDG 和 ASE 相比？
首先我第一次去世界赛，在 EDG 去世界赛的时候，我是紧张彷徨，不知所措。然后第二次ASE 去东京大赛的时候，更多是想要证明自己，但是我们缺乏了很多东西。但是这一次在 FunPlus 来到马德里大赛，我是更多是相信以及有自信去就是对于我们队伍有非常非常的自信，以及对我自己也有非常非常自信，就是不同的阶段成长。对。
I feel like I have different status when I was in those three teams. When I was in Ever Gaming, the first time I attended in an international event, I was a bit of nervous. I don't know what to do during the games. And the second time when I was in Attacking Soul Esports, the only thing I need to do is to improve myself. But it was our team, maybe myself, lack of something, but we didn't manage to do that. And right now I'm in FunPlus. The only thing in my mind is that I truly believe myself, believe in our teammates. We are very confident, and I think we could do better maybe in the next matchup.
Hey guys, commiserations on that series loss. I got a question for Alex. It's sort of similar to the other previous questions that have been asked so far in this press conference, but more so talking about EDG. How did you view the performance given the fact that you guys have been faced them various times at this point? What kind of challenges have they thrown towards your way that kind of made this series difficult to win? Was it more so them playing well and just thwarting your strategies, or more so just your performance just being underwhelming?
I mean, it's definitely both. I mean, you've got to give them a lot of credit, you know. Stuck to their guns. I think they didn't change too much from Chinese Ascension, but I could tell that they adjusted a little bit, and they adjusted pretty well for us on bind. I think we didn't lose on bind. I think they were just better on bind, but I think on split we definitely should have played a little bit better, and we will be looking into it to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Sorry, do you want more details? I wasn't. I can't remember the question actually.
it was more basically just your view on whether it was more so of them playing well or you guys not playing as well.
I mean, they've improved. Every time we play them, it gets closer and closer. So I mean, this you can't keep beating one team forever. Eventually, like even us and DRX, eventually you beat them, and we go back to the drawing board and we see what we went wrong and we try and make it better.
I got another question, but this time is for Moniette. I actually conversed with your coach Alex regarding your inclusion to the team last year, given the fact that you're replacing Jing for this iteration. How have you been fitting in with this team from your perspective? What kind of challenges do you feel you have experienced so far? Including this recent match against EDG.
I think for me it's more like a confidence problem, I think, for myself. But fitting into the teams, I think we did very good job at fitting me in because it was very uncomfortable at first. But after we keep practicing together, it was pretty good.
I want to ask Magnum. Um, there was a moment in which you guys were poised to extending this series, or more so extending the second map of the series to overtime off of that narrate 1v3 clutch. Of course, when Sentinels won that thrifty with everybody playing at sea. I want to know what happened from your perspective and what kind of made things go south for you guys.
I think it's the eco round, because yeah, I think I mean, I just didn't react well, like in terms of calling, and we are too slow, and we gave them time to stack and use the result, which was only the key to win. And yeah, I think that's the moment which lost us at least the Lotus. And on split, I don't know, like there was like situations like I think we played like okay, I'd say it's not the best day. Obviously, we played like all rounds, but the macros, like in terms of like between those, how you react with util was not on the point today. And I think this is like why we had sloppy start on split, and that's why we lost some rounds on Lotus.
This question goes to Eng. I want to know how it was trying to prepare for a team such as Sentinels, which has been on a good run, obviously so far, including your team as well. So, what kind of challenges did they present to you on the preparation phase, and also even now during the match from your end?
Uh, to be honest, I feel like against top teams like Sentinels, Loud, Fnatic, etc., like it's not so hard to prepare, to be honest, because they play standard Valorant. Only difference I would say it's their attack rounds in mid game, but overall I feel like against them it's like it's easy to counter-strap top teams, counter-strap top teams than like let's say Asian teams or Pacific teams. Yeah, it's like it's my opinion, but I don't know. I would say started right after kickoff we started playing like much worse. Our form right now, just our individual form and team form isn't good as before. So it's not about preparation. It's all about us. If you want to be top one, let's say you have to play your game, not enemy game. So yeah, we just need to be better individually and as a team. That's it.
Pedro?
This next one goes to narrate. Of course, there was a storyline coming into this match about you being the American for the EMEA team and just coming up against Sentinels, one of the most popular and historic teams within this game's history. Two-parter question. First off, is what was it like just trying to take on Sentinels from your point of view, with your career in mind, and also the second one, of course, I got to ask about that 1v3 clutch. What happened to that made it happen?
Well, firstly, like to play Sentinels is always really cool. Like they're all really cool players, and I play with them like in ranked and NA, and it's always like good times to play with these people, and they're all like, and I've competed against them in challengers before, so it's pretty cool to play like such a cool team. And the 1v3, I mean, I kind of knew what they were doing like I knew what they would do. They made the best reaction play is to just go double in tree because like you're playing together and you're also not like risking you getting flanked. You cover all your angles. So I knew what they were doing. So once I got to site, I just tapped the bomb and I just prayed to God that they peeked me before time ran out, and they did. And I got the double kill, and yeah, and then the 1v1 was just easy after that.
Hey guys, first off, also congrats on the win. I got a question for John Cutie. Of course, looking at the second map, specifically at the very end of there was a time in which KC was on the verge of extending that map to overtime with that narrate 1v3 clutch. But then you guys turned it around with that thrifty win with everybody on C and just taking everybody down and winning the series as a result. I want to know from your perspective, what was the comms like in just trying to make that play together? Did you kind of anticipate that KC was going to go hard C, and also everyone else within the team can chime in if they want.
I mean, we lost a tough round. We just made sure to reset. We were on eco, and we just started A, and we just gamble call to go C. We know that KC plays very packed, and they've been doing the whole half. They don't really have many lurkers. They like to stay as 4, and they show a lot of presence. We just made the call. Shout out to Zach. He made the call to Rocket. I think Jordan made the call for Sassy to I from Waterfall. So it was more of a team effort on the call. Everyone did their part, and I really can't give the credit for me on that one. Everyone did their part, and that's how it goes on this team.
You know what credit we can give to though?
Yep.
The Sentinels Classic by the Sentinels bundle.
Classic.
Please buy.
How is that credit to me though?
Huh?
What do you mean?
I said, you know what we can give the credit to though.
I'm joking.
Oh, screw you, dude.
I'm just joking.
John, I think you're great.
I'm not.
I got a question for Tens. Your mother was interviewed during the broadcast about by Golden Boy, and he mentioned about how it's the first time she's seen you play in an international setting in a competition such as this. Given the fact that back in 2021, because of COVID, no fans were there. But what's the feeling like for you just to play with your mother watching by the sides and the rest of your family?
I would just say it's a really nice feeling having my family there in person to support me. And I mean, I don't know what else to say other than like it feels great. And this is like the first time ever that I've actually had any family come out to support me in any event I went to, whether it's from CS or this game. So it's pretty cool.
Hey guys, congrats on the win over PaperX, and it's talking about that win. It took a while, but finally you guys got it done. I got a question for after. Um, Given the fact that PaperX presented very interesting compositions to this match, of course, triple duelist in map 3 and then no duelist at all in map 1. What were some of the things that you prepared for your side when it came to facing off against PaperX, and how what made it possible for it to be successful?
这个问题想要问到 After 教练。那首先还是恭喜你们今天赢下了 PRX。在今天 PRX 他们拿出的阵容其实也是非常有趣的，比如说在图1无决斗，图3 3决斗。所以想问到我们 EDG 这边在对战当中是做出了怎样的一个准备，以及你觉得今天能够赢下来的原因是什么呢？
其实这个他们在自己的太平洋赛区就已经有打过，拿出来的阵容，所以我们提前其实都是有范本跟看他们打法的。那第一张图其实是比较没有进入到状态吧，我觉得，但是我们的沟通都还是一直不断的在交流的，只是决策上可能有一点小失误。然后很快的在第二张图，甚至是第一张图的下半场，我们就开始已经找回节奏了。然后只是因为可能上半场的分数落差有点大，比较无力回天。那慢慢的从第二张图开始，我们就已经把状态打回来，就怎么讲，也不能说轻松吧，就只能说来来回回，我觉得还是有艰难的。因为每一次对战 Paper Race 的时候，我觉得我们都是需要去怎么讲，彼此感觉压力都挺大的。只是我们这次选择了更成熟、更轻松的心态去面对。对。
And so after that we already saw those composition when they played in Pacific League. We have already saw their walls, so kind of familiar to us. And for today's map one, I have to say we start a little bit slow, but we still keep communicating to each other. I think just our decision went wrong. And go to the second half, we kind of find our pace back. But because we didn't do really well on the first half, so eventually we didn't to manage to close the first map. And on the second map, I think it's really close. A lot of up and downs in that map. So, face against PRX, there is pressure for both of us. But this time we just choose to be more mature and find our way to find a way out. Thank you.
And I got a question for Sidelock. Obviously, the FPX biggest pushback against you guys was in that second map in Breeze, their map pick, and at one point they were ahead, looking at halftime around 75. What kind of challenges did you see that team present to you in that map specifically, and how did you then overcome that?
I think they adapted really well to our first thought of how to play against them, for sure. But after I think our second pause, our second pause, it was more like, okay, now we know what we have to do. Like, we know what are we lacking on A, because I think we lost like 2 post plants on A, which should have been ours, to be honest. So after we talked about it a little bit more and we have a good game plan, we were able to overcome what they were doing.
I got a question for Les. Including this series, you have performed as the best player in the team, statistically speaking, and it's a continuation of this form that you've had, not just in this tournament and in this series, but also looking back, also at kickoff. Um, how do you look at your progression as a player this year? What kind of made it possible for you to just play so well at a consistent rate?
Essa pergunta agora vai para o Les. Você performou como melhor jogador de acordo com as estatísticas, mas mesmo olhando para trás no kickoff, é uma progressão bem constante que a gente consegue ver por esse ano. A gente quer saber o que é possível, o que se fez possível para você performar tão bem e tão constante durante esse tempo.
Se eles soubessem que o segredo é trocar a camiseta. Eu acho que o que mais me deixa constante assim é principalmente que eu consigo controlar muito bem a minha função, sabe? Porque eu não sou um duelista, eu não sou um iniciador que eu tenho que ir pra frente, eu sou um cara que consigo jogar mais pra trás. Então tem muitas vezes que eu tô pinando e daí eu penso, mano, vou matar uns bonecos de costa, daí eu jogo mais devagar. Então é meio que minha função me deixa muito livre pra isso, e como eu jogo com ela já vai fazer muito tempo e só ela, eu acabo me acostumando muito.
I think if I have to point out something, it would be like the total control that I have about my position. I'm not a duelist. I have just to like moving much forward and like put my face off. So sometimes I get myself like thinking in a situation that just gonna go there and kill some people from the back. I would say that yes, my function let me like a little bit free regarding that. I only get worried about how developing from there.
Thank you very much. That concludes our press conference today with Loud. Congratulations. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Foi a primeira vitória, mas
Uma
eu tô no game.
primeira vitória. Estamos prontos?
Uma só?
Uma só, né?
Primeira vitória, né?
Foi mal, mano.
Vamos lá.
Commiserations on the elimination from Masters. I got a question for the coach. Given that we've seen FPX play against top tier talent, top tier teams such as KC and in today against Loud, where do you see the current level of FPX compared to the world's best teams, in your opinion?
这个问题是想要问到教练，其实，在目前的马德里大师赛，我们也是交手了，就是算是2支非常顶尖的队伍 KC 和 Loud。那你觉得和他们相比较的话，从你的个人角度，你觉得，是怎样的一个比较？觉得会是一个什么样的想法？
我觉得我们第一场打 KC 和第二场打 LOUD 的时候， 他们两个队打的都很稳定，表现也很好，然后也表现出了强队的那种稳定性。反观我们主要就是跟他们的比较是，我们的稳定性太差了，我们会在高压的情况下导致一些很低级的失误。我觉得这是我们需要跟他们有差距的地方。下次我觉得我们可以把这个东西调整好。
I think we will play against with Keithy and Loud. We found that they are really stable in the game. Just like you say, they are really strong team, and we feel like when we're under pressure, we always like made some mistakes we shouldn't make, and I think that's the gap between me and them.
Hey guys, congrats on the win. You sort of already touched upon,
Yeah.
talking about agents, Alex, and this question goes to you. Just more so looking at the decision to go from triple duelist to now going to double duelist and just switching around the agents for certain people in that recent match against Team Heretics, them being, Forsaken to Raise and then Divide Sky, Pneumonia to Omen. What was the rationale in just making that decision to switch to a different composition for this next go around with Heretics after playing that triple duelist with EDG in the previous game?
I mean, I wish I could say it's a grand plan where we bait people into picking split, but the truth is, like, I think as Jason touched on it, that we just felt it wasn't working, and maybe it's only really really good on Pacific. Even then, like the games were close in Pacific when we played it. I mean, we just looked at the script, we just looked at the game, and we're like, okay, look, it's an absolute disaster at the moment. Like, we're not playing to the comp strengths, even if there is any, or at least we weren't following what we believed in, and because of that, we're like, okay, look, if they pick split, we're in trouble, so we might as well just change and just go for it.
Hey guys, likewise, commiserations on the series loss. I got a question for Boo. Um, when the series went into a tie on the halftime and the third map of the series, but then from then on, Paper X has kind of snowballed the lead away from you guys. I'm kind of wondering on what made that happen in such a way that Heretics weren't able to rebound, and wins in split. What were the kind of challenges that you saw within the team taking on Paper X?
I mean, we're talking about our attack rate, so I think it was just moments when the fight happened, like on pistol round, I think on the fourth round, like the mid pushes, the round fights, like it's just the fights that happened. I feel like, I mean, they obviously won them, but also maybe we're not as ready as we should have been. I also think that my calls could have been better on attack. I didn't do the best calls. So it's just combination, like it's mostly props to them, because they kind of abused the fights that are comfortable for them, and we gave it to them. So yeah, I think that's what happened.
Firstly, really nice try today. My question is to whoever would like to answer. So Paper X, before this, they've been running a triple duelist comp this year on Split. Was that the comp that you were prepared for heading into this? Did you expect the change about with the Sky coming in? And do you think that it was just not being able to win the individual fights like you said that led to the loss? Or was it the team comp that caused a little bit of a wrench in the works?
I can answer if you want. I mean, for us, like, we're aware Paper X, we were aware of, triple duelist comp, like, we were prepared to face that, but we're also, we're very aware that it's very easy for them to just change comps or change an agent. We're prepared for, any swaps, like, we always make sure we're prepared for stuff like this. I think a lot of it was, we didn't, they took advantage of when we made mistakes, and yeah, this is how it goes sometimes. But yeah, we're ready for anything. We weren't surprised that they changed your list. Is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you.
Next question from Arnob the Spike.
Hi guys, first of all, commiseration on the loss. My question is open for everyone. I just want to understand, like, you guys picked Neon over other duelists in most of the maps. Is it something that is Minibo most comfortable with, or do you guys find more value out of Neon compared to other duelists?
You want me to take it or do you want to take it?
I can answer.
Yeah.
I think it's complex answer. First of all, it wasn't really minimal. Like he's comfortable playing any duelist. But the thing is, he's so good on Neon that like the things he does reactively raises skill ceiling of Neon a lot. And like when we tried Neon on Lotus or Sunset, like we saw how impactful he is, like not with the strategies that we put on, you know, on VALORANT and like you stand here, you stand here. No, it's about his own decisions reactively. And we saw how good he is. So that's mainly the reason he plays it. And then the second reason, I think it's, I mean, nobody really plays it, maybe some teams here and there. So it's hard to play against. People are not used to countering Neon. They maybe are not fully aware, like what can happen, what stuns are like dangerous to them, how fast he can run sometimes, like how impactful is the ball sometimes. So it's a combination of his own skill and the, you know, the unpredictability of the agent.
I got a question for Miniboo. We're gonna focus back onto the map 3. Of course, you know, you did not put a very good performance relative to the other maps that you performed in the tournament, going 6 and 14 KD. I just want to know what was the biggest struggle that you faced in Split against Paper X from your point of view, and how difficult was it for you to just kind of play in that way in such a form?
I'm not actually going to let him answer that question because as a coach, I don't care about his KD. It's not an important question. It's not something I want to focus on. We lost to Paper X because they were a better team and we had, you know, we lost as a team. It's nothing to do with Miniboo. If you want to ask how amazing he played the entire event and how he proved he's one of the best duelists in the event, go for it. But I'm not going to let you guys ask any questions about individual performances because this is a 5v5 team game and we lost as a team. So, thank you.
Hey guys, likewise, commiserations on the loss. Obviously, this result is not the way that the team would have wanted it to have transpired, but such is the way. I got a question for Kang. More so, just looking at the team's overall performance. What do you think the team could have done better from yourself and also the rest of the team's point of view?
这个问题是想要问到刚刚选手，通过今天的比赛，你觉得不管是从你个人角度来看也好，还是对于整个队伍来说，你觉得有哪些部分是可以做得更好的呢？
我认为首先是在心态环节上吧，其实觉得大家心态都挺好的，就第一把打完我有点就不知道怎么回事，然后再加上，我没有做到一个决斗者该为队伍里面创造一些优势或那种基本的一些东西吧，所以说我觉得这可能是成为我的一个不足的一点，然后其他也就还好，就没有做特别好吧，希望下次能够做好一点，然后再精进一下自己吧，对。
I think Kankan said that mainly it's about our mentality. But actually today's I feel it's fine about our mentality. You know, after map 1, maybe a little bit something wrong with my mentality at that time. So I think I didn't do well as a duelist to take advantage for my team and some fundamental things. I didn't do that really well. And except that, I think other things might be fine, but just didn't end up well. After that, maybe we should do more improvements about myself.
First off, commiserations on the series loss. I got a question for Magnum. You mentioned a little bit about Paper X and playing against them. Exactly what were the things that they did that sort of got you that sort of led to those struggles that you mentioned as the IGO, and also how it affected the rest of the team?
So for me, like personal like bind like defense, I literally like I don't know, like they like they I would say like the play style is stupid in my opinion, the way they play and they disrespect you. But yeah, it kind of like first few rounds, it kind of they took me over their side and I made a lot of stupid mistakes. But I don't know like how to really answer that question. It's not like I think the Lotus was like quite obvious, like that it's really easy to play against them if you play correctly. I think buying second half and was as well like much easier. But on Ascent, yeah, I don't know, I just got lost. Like Ascent is in terms of macro, I think the one of the hardest maps, and yeah, I fell there.
Yeah, this question is mostly directed to narrate Martine and Until Machine Machine, given the fact that this is your first go at an international event. You know, it's sort of similar to one of the questions I was asked beforehand, but more so, I just want to know how have you taken in this experience of just playing with the rest of the world's best in Carmine Core, and what is one thing that you'll remember the most out of your experience in Spain?
You can talk more.
Why me? Why me, bro? To be honest, it's just like the most important thing, at least, is that obviously that playing an international event is very different from playing from like where we're playing from, like in Berlin. So it's definitely like different things. Not everything can go your way. You don't have a lot of practice once you get to the event, just because of scheduling and stuff. So it's kind of it. You just have to like try your best to be in the best form. And I feel like yeah, that's it. It's just different. And I think the biggest experience is if we go to another international event, then it'll be very helpful for us.
Acreditable. No, but I think for me especially, I think it's really good experience because it's new role in this type of like stages and things. But yeah, as Marshall said, I think comparing like to Berlin stage to here is completely different. You can get more used to like the Berlin stage much easier and comfortable. But yeah, I think I completely agree. When we qualify for another international event, we're gonna be like more ready. And yeah, I think it was insane experience for us.
Hey guys, likewise, congrats on the win and progressing to playoffs. I got a question for Forsaken, but anyone else can chime in if they want. During the series, obviously you guys were on the had a deficit, you know, losing to Carmine Court and Lotus, and then falling behind at the end of the first half. In a sense, I just want to know like what kind of caused you guys to suddenly make that turnaround in the second half on defensive side and just subsequently win the series in overtime. You know, how did that happen from your perspective?
I guess I think the key factor is like no matter like what the score is, we just like try to like believe each other, and then we try to like keep the mood happy, and then we just like try to play the game as usual, like how we play on practice. So yeah, I think we just like at that moment, I still can't believe that we managed to come back, but I would say it's really good that we come back. Yeah.
I got a question for something. We've seen you play the get go, and it's 11th time since going back to the off season. I just want to know like your thoughts on just the agent, how you have fit into to the agent and your performance with the agent. Just now recently against Carmen Core.
I would say I like to play on Gecko. It's a really fun agent, and I can play on op also on this agent. And low key, I wanna play on breach, but there's no fracture, no pure, for example, and no heaven. So yeah, I like to play on Gecko.
Thank you. Next question from Pedro.
Yeah, it's also like a similar question to the previous two, but more so I'm kind of directed it towards Lakia. Um, just a question about sort of how do you view your performance in the finals, and in addition to that, how do you look back on Genji's performance, given the fact that you guys have been able to perform so well up to this point, and how you will take this experience for the ensuing split?
아키아 선수에게 드리는 질문인데요. 이번 결승전에서 개인적인 퍼포먼스에 대한 평가와 함께 젠지가 탑2라는 성과를 이뤄냈는데 팀이 걷어낸 성과나 경기력에 대해서 평가 부탁드리고 또 이제 스테이지 1에 들어가면서 오늘 느낀 점과 배운 것들을 어떻게 좀 활용하면 좋을지에 대해서 답변 부탁드립니다.
일단 바인드 스플릿 전장에서 그리고 또한 아이스박스 저희가 패배한 전장에서 제가 조금 더 잘해줄 수 있었고 좋은 행동과 콜 또한 잘해줄 수 있었는데 좀 못한 부분이 많이 너무나 후회가 남고요. 아쉬웠던 플레이들이 계속 생각이 나는 것 같고 퍼포먼스도 아쉬웠던 것들이 몇몇 가지가 계속 떠오르는 것 같아요. 그게 좀 생각이 많이 나서 되게 힘든 상황이고 그리고 이제 지금 당장 이제 힘들어도 이제 스테이지 1에서는 제가 세계 대회에서 경기했던 경험과 그리고 저희가 이제 실수했던 부분을 잘 고쳐 나가고 이제 다음에는 더욱 더 좋은 팀이 되기 위해 열심히 해야 될 것 같습니다.
Well, I just at this moment keep thinking about Bind, Split, Icebox, the maps that slip through our fingers. I just keep thinking that maybe I could have done better and I should have done better. My performance on those maps, maybe I could have made better calls. I just have a lot of regrets when it comes to today's series, and I just those plays that I'm not satisfied with just keep popping up in my head right now. So it's really tough for me at the moment. It stings and it hurts, but going into stage 1, I think we can take this experience of competing on an international stage and also figure out in what aspects we could improve on and come back as a stronger, better looking team.